Top tips for facilitating the Circle of Adults problem-solving process. Hi, I'm Colin Newton, educational psychologist, co-founder and director of Inclusive Solutions. Our mission to create fully inclusive mainstream schools. And we've always found that problem solving, especially in depth, is essential when we're trying to include some of the most complex, some of the most challenging children and young people in our schools. So we need to get when we're running these processes, such as the Circle of Adults process, we need to be able to look after the process, facilitate it as best we possibly can do. Now, you've probably come across this process. Well, if you haven't, you can look at our website, at our online school, and you can learn about it in depth. There's also a book simply called Circle of Adults, which we'd recommend to you as a kind of step-by-step guide for running this process. But this video is simply to zoom in on the group process of running a circle. It's just a series of tips, basically. So my first tip would be the importance of looking after the problem presenter, whoever they might be. They need to feel supported, kind of relaxed, looked after. So you must look after them, whatever that takes. My next point would be that and I suppose also it's important in my next point would be to look after the group itself. You want to maximize their participation, but they need to feel valued, their ideas need to feel valued, they need to feel good about themselves. So how you're responding to them as the facilitator will be extremely important for bringing out the best. So don't hold back on your praise, on your compliments, for kind of bigging up their contribution. Extremely important. A third point, I guess, would be on the importance of sometimes holding back, not being too forward, pulling, not just pushing in your facilitation. By which I mean anything we can do to ensure the group feels they are owning what's this whole process. They're owning the theories, they're owning the strategies and the actions that come out of this process. So much the better. Sometimes that would mean almost not looking at the problem presenter, but looking down, because you want the problem presenter to literally look at some of the members of the group so they feel more involved in what's happening. That can be quite a subtle process that takes some practice. Because if you do it too much, you've kind of lost the hold of the group. So you're still running the group, but you're kind of pulling back a bit. So there's a little balance there between your pushing and your pulling. I think the other interesting point about facilitating the group is you don't have to worry about remembering the content, because you've got a graphicer who's creating a big visual graphic behind you. It's not essential that you remember every little detail that's spoken. You don't have to take notes, because you'll know it'll be up there. So in many ways, you're kind of a conduit, kind of a pipe for what's being said. It's kind of flowing through you. You don't really have to remember it. You're simply structuring and supporting the problem solving. And my final tip would be the importance of remembering the time and the timings. You do not want to roll over the agreed end time, and you want to start fairly promptly at the start. Most of the time will be spent in the first steps of the outline of the problem presentation, and the exploring of relationships. The other steps can be gone through fairly rapidly if needs be. I would probably allow about an hour and a quarter to an hour and a half with the process. Unless you've never done it before, then give yourself a good 2 hours. So if you want to learn more about these kind of tips of facilitating the process, or in fact the graphic facilitation process also, I'd recommend you jumped on board our online school and look up the Circle of Adults course and the graphics workshops that kind of go alongside. Also look at the website, maybe get hold of the book. If you want more specific tips on a YouTube video like this, just put that in the comments. If you like this video, obviously like it, and subscribe if you want some more. Thank you very much for listening.